In this video, I want to tell you guys how I fell 40 feet from a willow tree, thought I was going to die, but I survived it. So we got a call for a storm damaged willow tree. The stem was, perfectly fine, but it had broken branches everywhere. So I gave a quote. We got the job. It was just a typical tree job. It was a big tree. The tree was probably not that tall. It was probably 65, 70 feet tall, but very wide canopy, very, very large limbs coming off the tree. So at the time of this tree, it was early on in the starting of my company. I only had one worker. His name was Connor. To this day, he was probably the best worker that I ever had. So a little more information on the job. It was obviously a big willow tree, had a big canopy. It was over farm fences, nothing too serious, but farm fences that they didn't want damaged. And there was a big pond next to the tree, which, they didn't want it falling in there and, having to get the tree out of the pond afterwards. So we're working on this tree. I'm tied in, around the top of the tree, good tie-in. We had a good rigging point to rig, all the bigger branches down with the ropes and the porta wrap, and everything was going, very, very smooth. So we had one big back limb on the willow tree, which was, fairly big. Like I'm talking, that thick. It was long. It hung out way over the fence, but I climbed out way out on it, put a rope in it. We rigged it down, but it wouldn't fit in the backyard. So we had to kind of tie it off on the porta wrap, and Connor had to, start the saw and cut off a few of the tips so that we could get it into the backyard properly. So as the branch was on the ground and Connor was about to start the chainsaw, I could hear some weird noises. It wasn't super loud, but I could hear it. I had my earmuffs on. I took my earmuffs off and I yelled down to Connor and asked him, did you hear anything? And he said, what do you mean? I said, I thought I heard like some weird noise happening. And he goes, no, I didn't hear anything. Right after he said that, it was just crazy cracking noises. This tree was about to go down. So the last thing Connor yelled at me was, get the heck down from that tree. I'm 40 plus feet in the tree, so I can't get down super fast, and it's cracking below me. So 20 feet below me, it was cracking on the main stem, which is like 4.5 feet wide. So I just, jumped and tried to swing away as far away from that tree as I could. I was actually trying to swing into the pond because I figured that would be, the best landing. So yeah, guys, I missed the pond. I hit the ground, feet first, landed on my back. But I also had this massive tree, coming down on me, which I obviously knew was going to squash me and kill me. And so when I landed, I feel like someone or something was looking over me, protecting me, because there was no way, that I landed in between these two big logs that we already taken down. I landed somehow in between them. I didn't hit them when I fell. I somehow ended up in between them perfectly, as if someone just placed me in there. It was so weird. The tree did not crush me. It landed on those logs. The tree was over me, but yeah, it didn't crush me. Still to this day, I feel like the person looking over me, it could have been a couple different people, but I feel like it was my cousin Garrett. He passed away on duty. He was a police officer, and he was just like a super kind, always looking out for everybody else kind of person. So I really feel like, he was there for me that day. I have a tattoo on my shoulder for him, with an angel, and I had that before this even happened. But I do feel like, that day that he was my guardian angel. It sounds corny. I'm not like religious or anything like that. I don't go to church, but I do believe in like, like a higher power. And, sometimes there's, people that passed away in your life that are going to be looking out for you. So just how I feel. So when I hit the ground, I ended up breaking my L1, my back. I didn't know it was my L1 at that time, but when I hit the ground, I couldn't feel my legs, couldn't move my legs. So I thought, I was paralyzed from the waist down, which I was pretty bummed out about. So there I am laying, under this tree still. Can't feel my legs, think I'm paralyzed. Connor came running up to me, asked me if there was anything he could do for me. I told him to call, my parents and Christina because, I really did think, there's a good chance I was still going to die. So I wanted to call them both and tell them that I love them, just in case before I pass away. So I still remember it pretty clearly when the paramedics and the fire department, I don't know which one got there first, but they got there, they saw the stem, it was like 20, 22 feet, still standing where it cracked and fell down. And they said to Connor, is he still alive? So I remember hearing that and saying, yeah, I'm still alive. Can you, get me out of here? I might have said it with like a few different choice words. I can't remember. But yeah, I was like, get me out of here. And they couldn't believe that, I fell from there and that I survived. And, Connor was saying, actually, he fell from, about 20 feet higher than that. The tree, broke 20 feet below me. So, they were still just in awe and I just wanted to get the heck out of there. So they got me in the stretcher. They got me all strapped down. They got a neck brace on my neck. I forgot to mention that I also broke my finger. It was it looked like an S like that. It was in my glove and it was just, I knew it was broken right away, obviously, right? Because it was mangled. We're sitting there with me in the stretcher and they're still just, looking up at this tree going, I can't believe that you survived that fall. And I was like, all right, guys, like, can we get to the hospital to, try to make sure that I still survive this fall? Yeah, I just remember that and, thinking that's kind of funny. So we got to the hospital and I don't even know what hospital I was in. I barely even remember what town I was in. I was working in a town that, I was never ever in that town, but the job was big enough and I took the job. So they took me to this hospital and I remember getting there and I was maybe in the hospital room for 2 minutes and already my mom, my dad, and Christina were there. So I remember thinking that was pretty awesome. It's definitely pretty awesome to have people, in your life that love you that much, that just go out of your way to, be beside your bed at the hospital. Christina was about to take an exam. She was still in school and she missed that exam, to be there, beside me. I survived. I broke my back, broke my finger. I would say if you're ever going to break your back, break your L1. Obviously it hurts a lot, but my recovery time was pretty good. The doctors, they told me to, stay away from, climbing trees for a long time. I think it was like they wanted me off for like 2-3 months. I was back in 3 weeks, had a brace on my hand, but I still went back. I climbed that willow tree, the remaining pieces of it. And I remember being scared. I don't know why. I was just so scared of this tree at that point. I still get, my heart starts racing and I get some kind of anxiety and, nervousness when I remove a willow tree. Still to this day, it's been years, but yeah, something about willow trees, they haunt me a little bit. I'm gonna always have a little bit of fear from those trees for the rest of my life, and I don't mind it because it's a good reminder. I like these reminders. If you have something traumatic in your life happen, keep them as reminders so that you don't let that ever happen again. The thing I learned on that job was I was rigging down way too big of a limb, too big of a piece. I was always the, go big, go home early kind of guy. But now I'd rather make, 3 cuts and instead of one big cut, just to make sure that, at the end of the day, I go home. I always kind of climbed any tree when I first started. I, never really had a fear of dying. I do now, not so much a fear, but a fear of leaving, my family without me. Even though I got life insurance and all that, I want to be there for my family no matter what. And especially now, I have a son, Theo. The number one thing, when I go to work is that at the end of the day, I come home, in one piece, able to play with my kid and, continue to supply and help out my family. So that's the story of, how a tree tried to kill me. I beat it. I still took it down. And, if you guys are, in the tree industry or any business, always take, the extra steps to be safe. Sometimes trying to do things faster it's going to come back and, haunt you, try to kill you. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's, kind of a boring video just watching, listening to me talk. I know you guys probably want to see this thing in action or, something happening, which will be coming soon. The weather still sucks here. It's still freezing cold. We got snow again last night, but yeah, we will have some cool stuff happening soon. I also have some other crazy stories. If you guys are interested in, hearing, any more of my stupid, tree stories, let me know in the comments down below. Or yeah, please let me know if you guys, have had any like near death experiences where, you kind of embrace it and you realize, every day that you're alive is amazing kind of thing. If I'm having a bad day, I kind of think back to that and realize, I'm still breathing, I'm still living, I'm able to see my friends and family. So, I'm a pretty lucky guy that way. However, and whoever, looked down on me that day, thank you so much. And, I'm just happy to be alive. So yeah, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully doing something a little more fun.